What's up? This is Yubel with Full Monty here with Ray and Orianna, the senior investment officers there at PadSplit. Awesome to have you guys. Welcome on the show.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you for having us. We're excited.
Awesome. So, listen, I love your guys' model, and I've been introducing a lot of my investors to this pad split model. Can you tell my audience what this does for them and what do you guys do?
So we're able to help investors achieve multifamily returns on single family home assets by utilizing common spaces in your house, which already exist in every property, and maximizing that space. And we're a
Okay.
platform, right? So just like there's tons of short-term rental platforms, we are another platform as well that will help you get those bookings, get those people moved in. We're going to also vet the people. So it's a all-encompassing platform that we're
Okay.
helping the investor with.
Okay. So when you say multifamily returns on a single family house, so we're taking a single family house, right?
Mhm.
And how are we getting these multifamily returns that we're speaking about here?
Well, we're getting multifamily returns by not having just one income stream. So long-term rental, you still have one income stream, whoever's staying in your home, uh, as a whole. And when it comes to short-term rentals, you still, as a whole, whatever it is that you make. Well, with Pad Split, now we're renting to one person per room, no pets allowed, no couples, no guests. And so if you have one income stream and you have 5 different rooms, now you have 5 different income streams within that same single family home.
Okay.
And they're all independent of each other. So let's say that we all live together. We all have different payment schedules. We all have different rents based off of rooms. So now we have multifamily returns with a single family asset.
So you're obviously taking extra rooms in the house as well, right? Because you mentioned eliminating all the extra space out of a house so that you're being the most efficient with this property as possible, right? So we're eliminating any kind of living rooms,
Yep.
dining rooms of a property. So if we had a typical home, a 3 bedroom, 2 bath property, right, with a living room and dining room space and a kitchen, we would essentially enclose the living room and dining room in
Yep.
its space. There's a minimum space and a minimum amount of details,
Egresses. Yep.
but we take those spaces and now we've converted this home into a 5 bedroom
Correct.
property, 5 rentable rooms.
That's
Correct.
right.
Right.
Exactly.
And we chose to also do that because we figured that those common areas could potentially bring conflict. So instead, we maximized it to create cash flow.
Right. I mean, I think it's a great idea, right? And especially we want to talk about the people that we're serving in this type of investment model, because I think that that's very important that we understand the demographics of people that are actually coming in here to rent. It's it's maybe a worker that's coming in temporarily to stay a couple of months and work in the area. What's your experience with those people?
So we are catering towards the workforce and the blue collar individuals for multiple reasons. Interest rates for purchasing a home getting substantially increased. Rental rates are substantially increasing as well, while wages are not necessarily being increased. So there is a bigger gap between those two, and those people are being priced out of the market for buying market and for rental market. So uh, they really are still producing an income, but they don't have affordability for anything in their cities, right? They're working, but they're not able to afford any of those things. So we are providing a solution for those individuals. I'll give you an example. We currently have 47 properties, 47 doors ourselves together because we are also investors. And we have individuals that work for Universal. We have individuals that work for Disney in our properties. We have somebody that is a manager for a restaurant. We also have someone that works at the front desk of a hotel. So people that are serving us on a regular basis on our day to day, but they're just not able to really buy or rent right now.
Yeah, the reality is that you would think that the people staying in pad splits are just people that would be Section 8, people who can't afford any type of housing. But the reality is that if you consider what minimum wage is in the state of Florida, and it's $12 an hour, the cost of an average studio apartment in Orlando is about $1,900.
Mhm.
In order to qualify for that apartment for that studio, you need to make 3 times that amount. 3 times that amount is $5,700 a month, and in a year, you need to make $68,000 a year.
And the medium income is about,
Medium income, I think, is like $30,000-$40,000.
they're being priced out of the market. They have no idea.
100%. And you touched on something that I get a lot, right? Oh, the Section 8. First of all, it's not only not right, but it's illegal for a landlord to discriminate in regards to the basis of where people are getting their income. So if you're a landlord and you're saying to people out there, I don't want Section 8, stop right now, because that's against the law.
Mhm.
But secondly, in my experience with the Section 8 voucher program, you're not going to get any Section 8 tenants in there because they don't have the ability to just assess one room's worth of rent, right? So
Correct.
you're not going to get any Section 8 people.
No, it's a different exit strategy. Short-term rentals, there's short-term rental avenues, and then Section 8 is a whole different model. Board and homes is even a different model. What is it? Sober living and assisted living facilities is a different model. When it comes to PadSplit, it's workforce housing, and where workforce housing, there's just a lot more people who can't afford just common rent today in today's market, let alone families trying to find houses for themselves. That there's a ton of us that's priced out the market. And so what PadSplit's doing is just giving rooms that are affordable for people who are priced out of today's market.
And in today's society, there's still a lot more people that are choosing not to necessarily grow as a big family. So those people that are, doing careers driven or maybe empty nesters, or they're just having big transitions in their life, they're by themselves.
No.
It's substantially easier to potentially buy that house with a significant other. But if you're not in that path, this is a great solution for you while you're able to save, relocate some finances into something else, and then move up the ladder essentially and get to where you want to get to.
Right. So yeah, it's some people's starter rental,
That's
right?
right.
Like some people's starter homes. So this could be some people's starter rentals. They move in closer to where they work. They're saving up. They're saving up some money. People do live cheap. I grew up in a city where, in Miami, the efficiencies, right? Everybody has an efficiency in my neighborhood, right? That's how they paid for the house. Right, they'd rent out an efficiency or two in the house, and that's how they made the payments. So, I'm very comfortable with this model, and you guys have brought it, to the new age with, bringing it online. You guys take care of so much for the landlord or the owner. Tell us a little bit about what your service provides on this type of exit strategy, which is a room shares type deal.
Yeah. So we first start with marketing and advertising your property. So we're doing over 60 rental listings, SEOs, Google platforms, social media platforms, of course, as well. So you're probably familiar with some of these rental service listings, right? Once we are getting that property advertised and market, we're going to now get those people interested in wanting to rent by the room. So we're going to screen the people that are interested in renting those rooms for you. We're going to screen them, background check, word check, credit verification. We want to make sure that they're trustworthy at the end of the day, that they qualify under our standards, right? So we're screening them for you. Additionally, that we're doing the screening on each one of these members, we're also doing the payments and collections. We're doing biweekly and weekly payments. And the reason why we chose to do this is because traditionally, people get paid on a weekly or biweekly basis.
Right. So you're eliminating the idea of spending that money and waiting till their next check to make it up.
Absolutely. So when they understand that every paycheck comes in on a biweekly basis and rent is due, they're going to pay more on time.
Yeah.
And we're able to know that, let's say Ray didn't pay last week, I can act as an investor faster upon him not paying on time versus me waiting December 5th to find out that Ray couldn't pay the month of November.
Right.
So it's kind of a measure that's there to protect the investor and also the member that is staying out of PadSplit, which is phenomenal.
Right.
We're doing that payments and collections as well. And we're also doing member disputes management.
Okay.
So imagine that you're going to call because I'm playing Bad Bunny at 4 a.m. and you're like, this girl.
That's the only time to play Bad Bunny.
Hello. There's a moment in time. It's 4 a.m, right?
If you're playing it at 8 o'clock at night, that's just too early. It hasn't got started. There's nobody at the party yet.
Exactly. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Wrong artist.
Wrong choice, right? So you're going to call and be like, this person is very loud. I can't sleep.
Right.
Or Ray's going to call and say, hey, someone ate my leftovers.
Right.
So PadSplit is going to get those calls and manage those member to member potential disputes that can happen between people. And the last thing that we do, which is such a big value add-on for the investor, is so you have a consultant, in this case, my husband, my handsome husband, and myself, working with you, the investor, guiding you, sharing with you how to maximize your property, showing you how to best convert your properties. If potentially you need somebody in your network vendor, think of a property manager, a contractor, an insurance agent, a photographer, someone that can help you stage your property or even furnish it. We can do those connections for you.
So that's going to be a something that you work in coaching hands-on with your investors. Now, one thing that people ask me all the time is in regards to pad splits or room share. What is how do you present your rooms, right? Like what are the more successful your better pad split hosts, right? What are you including in your room? Like when you check into an Airbnb, you expect to have a fully stocked kitchen, you expect to have fresh linen, towels, room service, whatever, right? But what are you expecting as a pad split host to provide the tenants or the members or whoever?
So what PadSplit does provide you with initially is standards. And with the standards, it's usually minimum, let's call it. And so with the standards, it's 80 square foot for a room or greater. It's 2 forms of egress. It's full-size bed, nightstand, and a closet or a dresser as an alternative. So what we advise hosts on in the process is how to stick out compared to what the minimum looks like. And so when you're looking to retain people and to grow out the tenure on the members that are staying in your house, we're telling them add potentially mini fridges. The mini fridges help out for many different reasons. The mini fridge helps take away people from the kitchen. And so you have potentially less conflict. We advise hosts to go ahead and put
every time I'm in the kitchen, you're in the kitchen.
Exactly
it. Mirrors inside of the bedrooms. Reason why? Vanity reasons, obviously, but get people outside of the bathroom. Right. And so that it can not occupy the bathroom so much. The other things, go with a queen size bed because a queen size bed will make you another $8. Go with a desk. Why would you put a desk in a room? Because you might get someone that works from home. You might get an influencer. You might get someone that works for a tech company. And so those things would help stick your property out since we're promoting your property virtually.
Right.
So since we're not doing physical walkthroughs, your photos are going to sell your rooms. Your description of your room is going to sell your room. The title of your room. Originally, I'd say a year ago, call it. And that's not original, but a year ago, hosts were just leaving the whatever title, room 1, room 2, room 3. Some hosts would call room blue, room red, room orange. Now, as we're advising hosts ourselves, we're telling them, put a little description in there. Queen size bed with a TV on a wall, with a desk. So that when you see that actual listing, it's the photo, the description in great detail, as well as a title that sticks out.
Okay, so you're
So
not naming it the Star Wars room, right? You're
no, not
actually
at all.
naming it. Okay, all right, all right.
No
So
themes,
the first thing that came to my mind is like, I'm theming out these houses now. Right? Like,
no,
it's-
not at all.
Well,
No.
currently not. I wouldn't be surprised to see
but
us doing that in the future.
but if you really wanted to attract a different
That's right.
clientele, maybe you make like Star Wars rooms and Star Trek rooms and like you know the demographic.
This came
Anyways.
from. You get me for
You'll pick the
sure.
Star Wars.
You definitely get me. But yeah, different neighborhoods, different members, different jobs. So it all kind of ties together.
Right.
You might be in an area that has more tech jobs, and since you
Right.
know there's more tech jobs, then go put in your house, instead of put in a pickleball area, go ahead and fix up a space that might be too small for a bedroom and make it into like a workstation.
Like an office space where there's a
Uh,
printer and there's like, like a business center type of thing.
Right.
And you attract then at that point then members that are more work from home techie jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing is like I'm with you on that, and I said this Star Trek, Star Wars thing in jest, but not really, because right now, if in Airbnb, some of these hosts that have these Airbnbs that are not producing as much money in some of these areas, they might be looking at renting some of these things, right, as potentially PadSplit. Have you picked up any previous Airbnbs converted over to PadSplit?
Yeah, quite often. Now 'tis the season.
Tis
Uh,
the
we're we're getting. At first, it was long-term buy and hold
Right.
investors. Then it started to transition into fix and flip buyers that their flips weren't selling. And then now we're getting the Airbnb host that, hey, maybe it was a horrible idea in a rural area or 80% of Orlando to not have a home in these areas because there's no tourist driven things in this spot. And so nationwide, we're getting a lot more people that are coming from Airbnb because there's a lot more need for housing than there is need for vacation rentals.
When equally to the original conversation of availability for affordable housing, so many of those homes became short-term rentals that they were also taken away from people that could actually buy or rent.
Yeah.
So we removed so many, available homes for those individuals. And now, because so much saturation of that market, now people are kind of bringing it back to PadSplit,
Yeah.
finding those returns.
Yeah. 100%. Now, some of these areas, didn't accept Airbnbs and things like that. Where are we putting these PadSplits, right? Because there was always like, where do you put an Airbnb? Okay, well, we put an Airbnb around an attraction, right?
Yep.
A vacation destination, right? Where are we putting PadSplits?
I would say, and I'm sure you'll get two different answers, but we're fairly similar on this one, maybe. With pad splits, I would say high density areas, lots
Okay.
of traffic, a lot of cross jobs, let's say. Like if we say Lake Underhill, I'll designate Lake Underhill. I like to pick on them.
Okay.
You have hospital jobs. You have jobs with the airport being nearby. You have retail jobs. You have access to the Milk District. You have access to Seminole County, Orange County. And so it's become very expensive to live in that vicinity. And so you're not relying just on retail employees. You're not relying on just one industry. And so I would say wherever there's a lot of people, a lot of population size, high density, and a lot of public transit, it'd probably behoove you to go ahead and put a property there. But now, alternatively, we're not to put a PadSplit because there's more places in Central Florida and in Florida to put PadSplits than there are not to put PadSplits.
Right.
I wouldn't put one out in the middle of Lake County or out in Christmas because there's just not enough jobs.
Right.
If there's not enough jobs, then we really can't fill the house up with employees because people are going to want to live close to where they work.
Okay. So with that being said, Orianna probably has a different place that she would put her PadSplits. So I imagine half of the 47 is in one side of town and Where are the other? Where's the other half, Oriana?
I'm going to go with colleges and universities.
Okay, I like that. I
Um,
really do like that.
because we constantly think of, oh, I want students. No, but who service the students? Who service the university per se, right? Who is keeping the facilities clean? Who is at the financial aid? Who is at the bookstore? Yeah, some of them are students, but some of them are actually full-time workers for that college or university. Um, so that's going to be
See, I
kind
didn't think of those guys. When you said college and universities, I was like, yes. And when
Not
I
the
go,
students, bro.
but
uh,
I don't want the students. I want the teachers because
yeah,
they're still underpaid, right? I want, and again, that person that is going to help the student with student aid and all those people that are there that are working that are
yeah, the
making a
ancillary,
name,
yeah, 100%.
and they're not necessarily increasing that income. So that we're going to focus. I would like to get those. I
Yeah,
like to get.
well, I mean, I'm right here by UCF, and it's a huge campus,
Mm-hmm.
huge campus. So I can imagine how many employees are there, single, work from home types, or home and back, to work types.
And think of
Uh,
all the jobs that were created because of the university.
right.
Right? All the restaurants in the area, all the coffee shops in the area. So all those people
Sure.
that are not necessarily only working for UCF or Valencia, but are also servicing the
Well,
demand for the students.
you got Gainesville, right?
Yeah.
You got Gainesville, and Gainesville has a lot of services that revolve right around the college. So if you could find affordable housing around the colleges, that's definitely a great. And the thing is, it's properties. I could speak from experience with college properties around the colleges aren't cheap,
Right.
right? So you have to make sense of the investment, and leveraging the rent by the room model is definitely one way to make sense of an investment that otherwise wouldn't make sense holding on to the property. So it
Yep.
really gives you a good exit strategy to hold good assets in good neighborhoods, not just cheap assets and in high level, and get try to maximize the return. You could actually hold good assets.
Right.
I
So
mean, to add one random little point,
yeah,
because we're picking outside of Orlando at this point, if you think the villages,
I
and
was just
this is
going to say the
yeah, and this is one that like a lot of out of the box thinkers kind of think of.
I like
The
it.
Villages is one of the biggest growing communities, period, in the state of Florida. And so, since they are expanding, who lives in there? What is it, 65 and above?
Yeah,
And so, since it's 65
55,
and above,
55, I believe it is.
55,
Yeah,
who's servicing that large community and where are they living? And since they can't live in the villages, they have to find a place to live. So anything that's outside in the outskirts of the villages, Ocala, Bellevue,
yeah.
fantastic for
I mean,
PadSplit,
Lake County, right there.
North Lake County.
Mhm.
But in short, you would want to look at communities like that because there's a large demand since there's a large growth in that area, even the equestrian centers to fill up housing.
Yeah, I like the equestrian center area. The World Equestrian Center brings in. There's 50 equestrian events at that. Sorry, I correct myself. 50 weeks worth of events
Wow.
at the equestrian center. I had a client looking in that area to service that equestrian center,
Wow.
and I did a little research. I stopped in at that hotel, and I inquired a little bit about the activities and things like that. And there is literally horse activity related activity shows or say something 50 weeks out of the year there.
That's crazy. It's a big
Uh,
niche. It's a big market.
yeah, you could look up, you could look for things there that you could park trailers, horse trailers, right? Right by it. There's people that have to tend to those horses,
Yep.
right?
It's an
So
expensive hobby too.
yeah, and those people pay. Those people definitely pay. Now, you guys are. There's two more questions I want to ask you, right, before we run out of time. Actually, there's three, but I'll get to that one. So one, on your particular experience, on what is your occupancy rate, right? People want to know how much of these 5 rooms am I going to have rented normally?
So nationwide, we're at a 92% occupancy. Per
Okay.
market, it's a different occupancy. It changes
Right.
like per city. And then per zip code, it additionally gets even more detailed. And so PadSplit,
I checked Orlando yesterday.
what was the percentage?
It's 88% occupancy.
88% occupancy. So,
Very healthy.
yeah, if you have, let's just say 4 out of the 5 rooms regularly rented, and one is rented 50% of the time, more or less. That's a pretty solid, predictable rate of return.
That
Yeah.
is.
Now, when we contact you and we say, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a house or convert a house or whatever," we can look at those numbers together on a one-on-one basis. Or
Yep.
do you have a website or platform that we could go on and do that?
Come to us.
Okay.
This is the best way that we can help you. We will analyze your specific property. If we're able to schedule a walkthrough virtually or in person, we will be able to do that as well. But just come to us.
Okay.
We've done 7 properties ourselves that we own in our portfolio, so we can also share with you firsthand experience, what we've learned, what we've gained, what we've lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, wins and loss, but we've learned so much that we're able to also share with you our knowledge, our journey as PadSplit hosts as well.
Yeah, 100%. Learning some of the shortcuts to get it up and running a little quicker, and profitable is really the goal.
Yeah, there's admin information that we have access to that
Right.
just won't be public. And so at the moment, we can tell you like per zip code that we're in. How long does it take to fill your first room up on average? How long does it take to fill to 80%?
All right, let's do that. Let's do that live. I'm gonna give you a zip code, and you're gonna tell me the occupancy rate.
Well, okay,
You want to?
I'll try.
I'm down.
Let's do it. Well, while
We'll be
one of you guys look that up, I'm gonna ask you the second question that I had on that.
As long as we have PadSplits in that zip code, we can tell you.
Okay,
What's the zip code?
33010. Let's see if that's gonna be a popular one. If you could break into this zip code, you'll make $1 million.
Hialeah,
Yeah.
we have 2 properties there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Currently total of 12 rooms
Okay.
and 12 are
That's-
occupied.
That's one house.
No, that's 2 properties and 12
I'm kidding.
and you're going to notice that there's going to be houses that big, but guess what? Out of those 12 rooms available, 12 are occupied. So you're at
those are rookie numbers in Hialeah. We got 12 people in a room sometimes.
well, you know what? Because we just opened Miami in March.
Yeah.
Miami's a brand new market, but we're at 100% occupancy in that zip code.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the further details that you kind of wanted. So the average weekly room rate for that zip code is $295 a week, which is $1,277. And then for a private bathroom, it's $375 a week, which is $1,623
For the month.
For the month.
For
per
one
room. So
Right.
you got to multiply that
Imagine
times
you have
6. So, yeah. So the reason I wanted people, you to bring that one out there is because I know that there's markets that this makes sense, right? And I could tell you that those 2 houses there in Hialeah, 33010. If you tell me what street it's on, I could tell you what that house would go for. And
16th and 8th.
what?
16th Street
Uh-huh.
and 8th Street.
8th Street.
East or west?
East.
East. So that house right there, single family, it sounds like Suntan Village, right? And it's probably, what is it? Maybe
50.
1950s for sure house. I would say that house would sell on the market for about $500,000.
Awesome. You're not.
Yeah. If you look it up on Zillow, I'd be pretty close.
I'm
We're checking.
on my way.
But the reason I say that is because now you can make sense of a house in Hialeah, 750. That was, I did.
I said 650, and Zillow says 676.
Okay. So either way, that it was, I don't know the address. I just shot it out there for,
Yeah, no, that was pretty good.
but now you could buy that house in Hialeah, which is not an affordable area because
Right.
but now you could purchase that house and make sense of the investment and know that you're going to get 100% occupancy because people are used to renting those rooms.
Here's another thing. PadSplit's an exit strategy. It's co-living. And so as an exit strategy, obviously it's buy and hold. I still think that there's multiple different ways to obviously skin a cat. Our way of acquiring properties have been to burr the property itself. And so we're treating this as a flip, pulling money out of the deal, not only taking the money, the profit out of the deal, but then keeping the asset and then continuing to take that money to go buy more properties. And so for people who like to flip, why be as good as your last sale? Why not retain the property and pull the profits out? And so it is multiple different ways to kind of work this. I've seen people take hotels or motels and try to convert them into pad splits. I've seen doctor's office and dentist offices get converted into pad splits, as well as elementary schools out in Georgia. And so it is.
So much is possible.
Yeah, it's
so much.
So many ways to approach this other than just, hey, let me buy this house and sink my money into it. It's, hey, let me buy this house and pull money out and let it keep, rotating. So
yeah, 100%. So the only other thing that I get questions asked, this was the third and final. What problems are you guys seeing out there with regulations and the cities? Like when Airbnb was just a thing and a twinkle in somebody's eyes and 3 people had downloaded that app, right? Everybody in their neighborhoods were screaming, I don't want a vacation house in my neighborhood. But here we are. It's the number one vacation platform in the US or the world, So how is it that how has regulation been on you with the cities and people, neighbors?
I think that the number one complaint that I've heard hosts go through, and I luckily, knock on wood, we haven't gotten anything on ours, is neighbors calling on your property because of being a semi-bad operator and allowing to have too many cars at your property, or the assumption that your property is an Airbnb. Because our houses don't stick out. It doesn't say, hey, I'm a pad split.
Right.
And so as a platform, we regulate a lot of stuff. And when you're onboarding your property, we allow you to set the limit of cars at your home. And so when we guide you through the process, it's, hey, you have X amount of people, you should have X amount of trash cans. Hey, you have X amount of people, you should have this much parking spaces. But because your house has this limitation, let's set that limit. When you set that limit, someone goes to search for your house now. If you have a car and there's still space for a car, you can find the house. If you come with an extra car and there's no more space left, you'll never see the house on the platform. So being a good operator, setting the right limits, preparing your property to not stick out in the neighborhood, and obviously not acquire properties in areas where you're going to have NIMBYs, not in my backyards, and have your neighbors say, hey, you're sticking out. Like you have too many, it's too transient. We're noticing a change in cars. We guide investors on how to have longer tenure. And by having longer tenure, by not sticking out,
you avoid those.
You avoid it completely.
Yeah. So first and foremost, guidelines. Stick with the community standards.
That's right.
Right. Stick with the community standards. And the third thing that I tell my clients is be the neighborhood gem. Right. Who's gonna complain if you just turned the neighborhood dump into the neighborhood gem and you're renting it?
That's right.
Yeah, that's needless to say.
Continue to keep your grass cut. Just don't stand out.
Operator. That's by default, since we're burning our properties, we have to make sure our house looks great.
Right.
exterior, interior. It's not every investor's way, but have pride in the property that you have, rehab it correctly. If you have to pull permits on something, don't pop a window in your property and expect the city not to go ahead and knock on the door. Don't go ahead and not pull permits on stuff that you can pull permits on. Pad splits haven't been shut down because of zoning. They've been shut down due to HOAs.
Yeah.
And that's because obviously HOAs can change what their bylaws are. But in regards to the city, we're kind of structured in a way that we do skirt any of the restrictions. And if they ever do come to your property, the thing that they can get you for is bad work and not, how
Yeah.
you're structured.
That's a very good point there. Is like, the rehabbers or the investors at that point, if you had this in mind from the get-go, make sure that you do everything by the book so that they don't have the book to throw at you later.
Of course.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So listen, guys, I want to be respectful of your time. I appreciate you guys coming on and sharing with us. You want to let everybody know where to find you, and we'll certainly tag you here on the video on the broadcast. So let them know where they can find you guys.
Thank you. Best point of contact is going to be through our Instagram currently. I don't even know my handle or his handle, so let me pull this up. You are REI. I don't even know it.
No. So in short,
Oh
what
my
you can
goodness.
do
I'm
is
sorry.
Listen, just hit the link below.
Hit the
I'll
link
make
below.
sure
Hit the
I'll make
link
sure
up.
I make sure I link it and tag you guys. That's
we
not a
do
problem.
have a Facebook group that I do want to point out. It's for host by host.
Yep.
And so that's basically where investors can talk to other investors and be a part of the ecosystem. So if you ever have a question and want to ask, hey, what's best practice? Or what type of returns are you getting? Or what's your occupancies? It's for investors to be able to talk to other investors. And that is called the National Host Facebook group. Our contact information, obviously, I'll link it on the bottom. But if you want to contact Orianna, it's Orianna.hdz on Instagram, and it's REIANT Nunez on Instagram for myself. But thanks for having us.
You need to make it easier because
I
I
know.
don't remember.
thepad.com.
The bad people.
The pad people.
That's what
So
you-
we got to make it catchy. We definitely got to make it catchy.
Yeah.
But listen, I really appreciate you guys, and it's been awesome sharing the stage with you guys.
Thank you for
Appreciate it,
having
brother.
us. We appreciate you. See you